The following presentation is brought to you through the paid memberships of NotaryStars.com, the only notary training platform and resource library with over 150 hours of training on every loan product under the sun. Together with our sister website, OnlineNotariesPublic.com, which focuses on notaries who are pioneering in remote online notary, we strive to give you a safe place to ask questions, get answers, gain confidence in your notary career, and achieve success without overfabricating the truths about our industry. If you would like to support us, please consider liking this video, subscribing to our channel, sharing this video with a colleague, or becoming a member and trusting us to help you achieve the level of success you desire.
Hey everybody, welcome friends. You have officially landed at Monday General Mentorship. My name is Beth Hathoot and we're absolutely thrilled you have decided to join us tonight. Most of the Notary Stars crew is here. I think we're missing one, or he's in the background. I just can't find him right now, but we're almost all here. We're dedicated to supporting you on your notary journey and your business growth. If you're a member of the training website, we have a different class every day of the week on amazing topics to help you hone your notary and business skills. Check the chat for details as Kirsten will be posting information for you. Tonight is jam-packed, like normal. Our Monday nights are so jam-packed, sometimes we have to run through them pretty quickly just to get it all in. We'll be talking about servicing hospitals later and advertising for that type of emergency services. As we get started here, you can raise your virtual hand at any time to ask a question or share an experience. Please don't be shy. And don't forget about our trusty jot form. So if a question pops into your head during the week, just drop it in the jot form and we'll do our best to tackle it during the next MGM session. We'll post that link for you in the chat again here in just a moment. Miss Amy, you have an announcement you're wanting to make, and then another statement.
I do. Welcome, everybody. Oh, my goodness. So I want to tell you all about the thing that Ronnie and I have been working on. It's the Remote Online Notary Network. It's all about helping you build a strong and successful RON business. And we are just launching this. So if you're interested in finding out more about what we're about to do and make this national marketing aspect for your RON business, as well as training and lots more, you'll want to get on that list of early announcing. So I just posted the link in the comments. So get on there, fill in your details, and we will let you know as soon as we start opening up the sign up process for that. There are some people already on there. They're from the old Online Notaries Public, but don't worry, you're not going to miss out. Everybody's going to be hitting the ground running at the same pace on this one. And then while we're on the subject of Ron, I've had some messages relayed to me. As y'all know, I've been rubbing elbows with lots of people this week. And I was told that some title and signing services are noticing that a lot of Ron notaries are trying to, or they're not just trying, they're doing online sessions from their car, which we all know remote online notarization can be done anywhere as long as you're in your commissioned area. It really doesn't physically matter where you are as far as your commission goes, but it doesn't look good when you go and you have one of those in your car or in a public setting where other people can overhear you. So please be mindful of your surroundings when you're doing an online session, especially when you're representing another entity, because what you do weighs on their customer experience and they may not like it. So those were my heads up and tip. And now, Ronnie, you are up.
Awesome. All right, so we have another announcement that I want to make sure you should have gotten an email about this. So if you were a profile listing level at Notary Stars up until, a few days ago, your membership level as a listing only has now been absorbed into the basics level, which means you have access to everything under the basics membership, which includes light training that we have available at the basics level, setting up your notary business, light marketing training. You do get a kind of like a starter marketing training with Kirsten on Tuesday nights. So she does her class and now you are able to attend. For the replays of those classes, though, you would have to be at a higher level membership. So you do have to attend those classes live. But we work really hard behind the scenes to make sure that those marketing tips are like A plus marketing tips. We're not just bringing you foo-foo, fluffy stuff that we think people want to hear. We're bringing you stuff that matters. So your membership level now has access to that. So you will get an additional email on Tuesdays if you are listing only, inviting you into those classes. Um, if you have any questions about that, feel free to email us at contact@notarystars.com or check out your membership level. But you should have gotten a nice welcome email about that over, as long as you're subscribed to our emails, of course. By the way, you don't want to unsubscribe to our emails because if somebody emails you from your listing, you won't get it because it comes from the same email address. So you got to be subscribed to get it. Got to take the good and the bad at the same time, education and money at the same time. Um, quick little last thing that I want to start the night off with, and then I'm going to kick it over to Beth with another important announcement, and then we're going to get into questions. I just want to remind notaries to be very careful when you're answering your phone, even if it's from someone you think you know at a signing service or a scheduler that you know. I often call notaries on a conference call, and you never know if the signing service has the title company on the phone and they need to speak to you or they're trying to get in touch with a signer. How you answer your phone with that person, even if you know them on a friendly level, could be relayed to another party. Your professionalism could be put into jeopardy just because of the way you answer the phone. So, as a business owner, just remember you always answer the phone with a business professional foot forward, and then you'll never run into this problem. But never underestimate that there could be someone else listening into the call. There may be just someone that needs to hear in there in the background. So, professionalism from the time that you turn your phone on till the time you go to bed, unless you're talking to your mom and you talk however you want to. Miss Beth, I'm going to kick it to you for your next very important announcement.
We wanted to just give everybody a heads up. If you're in California, there is a deceptive email, short of calling it a scam. There's a deceptive email floating around that's hitting California notaries, and it's from a company who's pushing the BOI, the beneficial ownership information reporting. And they are saying that your Secretary of State is showing you as not having filed your BOI report yet, and that you could be subject to $250 fine. This company is out there trying to kind of scare you and push you into using them to file that BOI. So there's two things you need to know. It's a bogus email. They do disclaim at the bottom of the email that says they're not associated with any government or regulatory site or entity. So they're saying they're just a company out there contacting you. But two things. One, the BOI reporting, the Federal Corporate Transparency Act currently only applies to foreign entities, not domestic small business. So for most of us, we don't have any requirements to meet that reporting. California at one time was looking at implementing a state level BOI requirement. That was on House Bill 1201, but it died in the Senate. So there's nothing to see here. Please ignore those emails if you get them. Your Secretary of State is not looking at you as being non-compliant. So nothing to worry about. Just wanted to let you know about that.
Thank you, Miss Beth.
I think we're ready to kick this off. What do you think?
I think so. Let's just remind everybody if you brought a question tonight, get those hands raised because closed mouths don't get fed. We want to make sure that if you brought any questions with you, that we get you into queue. We do have special information to go over toward the end tonight, so we won't be taking any last minute hands. So if you're here, you got to get into queue. Go ahead and raise your hand, and we're going to start with a jot form.
Mr. Manuel, if you want to go ahead and kick us off and start reading off those jot form questions.
Absolutely. Our first question for tonight, it came from Nancy P. Have a closing for a refinance. The husband's name ends with Sir. When I called to confirm closing, I was advised the Sir is not on his driver license. How is the best way to handle this? His wife said Freedom Mortgage has a copy of his driver license, but looks like they are still putting the Sir on his name. I don't have the documents yet, but Sir is listed on the order.
Okay, so chances are however that name is listed on the order is how it's on the documents as well. And I think you're referencing SR as a senior designation. So senior is always kind of tough. Years ago, we used to put senior on everything, right? We wanted to distinguish dad from son. Now we're distinguishing son from dad because senior is not a legal designation. If the documents have senior on them, which they probably do, and his driver's license does not, then you're going to have to resolve how you're going to identify him. You need to be absolutely certain that the person sitting across from you is not the son, right? If his driver's license does not have senior on it, how are you going to know for sure? And it makes no difference how old he is, right? He could still be a junior if he's 85 years old. So you're going to have to resolve how you're going to identify him. If you can't resolve that, then you need to go back to your hiring party and say, we need a solution here. Either redraw with an AKA name, right? um, John Signer Sr., aka John Signer. They won't just drop that senior off of there because likely that's how he's currently on title. And they cannot break chain of title. They're going to have to do an AKA or quick claim to get senior off of there. Whatever that situation is, that has to be resolved through title. You'll just have to let them know that you have an issue doing that. Sometimes you can use credible witness. If you don't have an ID that's adequate, sometimes you can use credible witness to ID that signer with the blessing of that lender or title company as well. Hope that helps, Nancy.
Right. Right now we have a hand raised from Stephen. Can we take his question?
Absolutely. Stephen, if you want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay. Hi. All right. Hi, everybody. Hi, Ronnie. Hi, Amy. So I have a question on one of the videos you had with the document, the sworn document from Spain. Did you ever figure out how much the company charged for that extra step?
Yes, I did. I don't have that information in front of me. So if you want to send a direct email to contact@notarystars.com, I'll be able to look up that information. But unfortunately, I wasn't prepared for that question. But I do have the pricing for
Oh,
that.
okay, no
You
problem.
can also reach out to them direct, and they'll also be able to provide you any pricing on that as well.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
And Manuel, let's go ahead and pick up another question on the jot form real quick.
This question came from Monica D. I am refining my run pricing and will love your input. What do you charge attorneys versus the general public for online notarizations? Do you use flat fees, per signature rates, or price by session? Also, have you had clients push back when comparing your fees to $25 rent platforms? If so, how do you respond?
I think that one's for me. Um, the short and sweet answer is you have to follow your state regulations when you're pricing anything. It doesn't matter if it's online or in person. Your state guidance is going to be the bottom line that you have to adhere to. But what the state tells you is that that's the most you can charge. So you can charge less or you can charge the state mandated limit, but you have to charge whatever you feel your value is worth. Now, you do also have to take into consideration the other platforms that are out there charging, because if you're going to convince them to go online, they're going to be able to go online and Google other places and find out if you're charging too much or too, where you are in the market. So you're going to have to look at your pricing and see how you can become adaptable to the prices that are being charged outside of that, what you're charging, or give them a reason why you're worth more. You're worth more because of this qualification. You're worth more because of this skill set. You're worth more because you're going to make sure you get this job done no matter what. Customer service is going to weigh out when it comes to that pricing matrix.
And then, Amy, I just want to chime in on this as well. So, for loan signings, you can charge a signing type fee because you're not charging per notarization. You're going to eat the cost of those notarizations on your Ron platform. So, you can charge, the standard 100, 125, 150 for your Ron services and or because you're charging for the experience, just like we do as a signing agent out in the field. You don't charge your customer per stamp when you go to a loan signing. Sometimes there's 20 in there, and you know, if you're in the right state, that'd be great, wouldn't it? But we don't always get that. So you're charging for a package deal. You can do the same thing with trust, the entire experience. So if you're billing for the experience, that's a different story. And then the other thing is partnering with signing services, Amy. I know a lot of notaries don't want to hear this, but you know, if you partner with Notarize, they charge 25, you get $5, right? But if you partner with Unlimited Ink, we charge a little bit more because we're a signing service and we are not the notary doing it. So the state Secretary of State can't come back and say, oh, well, Unlimited Ink is charging more because I'm not doing it as Ronnie Mickle. I'm charging as a company that discloses I'm charging a management fee to go out and find the notary for you on Ron so I can pay that notary their value and then create the experience. So partnering with signing services that pay decent rates or at least more than Notarized, which charges $5. I've never sent out a Ron for $5. God, I wish I could get you guys to work for $5. Ah, God. But just wanted to throw those tidbits in on there as well.
All righty. We do have another hand up in the gallery. It's Cookie. Hi, Cookie.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to share something really quick. Ronnie built us in marketing class a website template, and a bunch of us launched it. And some of the marketing students are in California. Well, Catherine, who's in marketing, put up a post on Facebook because she doesn't do Ron because California can't do remote online notary. And we got together and so I'm just trying to let everybody else know if you're in marketing and you're in California, definitely reach out to the ones that can do remote online notary because Catherine sent me a lead and I closed the lead, and Catherine made money for doing nothing. Well, not nothing, but Catherine made money just bringing me the lead. So if you're in California and you're a marketing student, reach out to us. Make that money. Ronnie had actually suggested it, and Catherine went with it, and here we are. I actually talked to Tiffany also. She's in California, and someday California is going to have remote online notary. And you want those web pages working, and you want to be up in Google so that way when you get it, your web page is there and they could call you. So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Thank you, Miss Cookie. And I'm going to actually drop a video into the chat about the website that you're talking about. So a lot of people don't know this about what we're doing at the marketing level and for the remote online notary network. The video that I just dropped, you really want to click on it and save it for after. You do not want to miss that. I built a template last Christmas. I took my entire Christmas break and built a website where you can market locally, nationally, or internationally. There's things you can sell nowadays that you don't have to be bound to your state, like remote online notary, document translations, apostille. There's also affiliate links that you can sign up for, and it's very easy to customize. We're actually currently in a 30-day challenge for my marketing students that's coming after this session. But we're currently in a 30-day challenge so that you guys can customize your websites. For those that have made it with the master videos, it's going very well. And what Cookie's talking about is Catherine from California has a nationwide website that's advertising remote online notarization, but she can't do it. So she's partnering with remote online notaries so that they can, but she can also use that website to sell other things along with remote online notarization nationwide. So if you're looking on scaling your business to a much larger level than ever before, we're the only training course out there that can provide you this kind of website. There may be people who can provide you something similar, but it will not do what this does. I can assure you, and no one else out there could probably learn or get the credentials to do it in less than 5 years. So if someone comes to you and says that they actually can show you how to do this, they stole it from me, and ask for their credentials and ask what mine are. I'd be happy to provide them to you and happy to watch them not be able to provide theirs to you. So there you go.
And and one quick note, Cookie is in Florida and she's partnering with people out of California. So it really doesn't matter what state you're in. If you can do Ron, partner with the states that can't do full on Ron, and you'll just make passive income that way. VJ, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I want to say a big thank you to both Ronnie and Kristen this weekend. I was struggling and fighting with the trying to update my website, and they both helped me a lot. And I'm still working. I mean, I'm still trying to catch up to Ronnie's videos. I'm slowly but surely coming up. But there are a couple of questions that I have. The little arrow mark that you have that it goes up, it's called the button, I think. I couldn't find it yesterday. I was fighting with it, like trying to figure out until 11 o'clock, and I couldn't do it. It just popped up today. So I don't know what's going on. So maybe Christian, you did your magic and fixed it for me. So I don't know. But anyway, I'm able to see it. But I did learn like how to do the button, how to do, you know, pin it, all the new terminology about Wix editor that I'm learning a lot. Um, and this is to maybe Beth now. I am trying to, somebody wants me to notarize documents there in the hospital, but the lady had a stroke. So her signature is not going to be legible because she started and then it's like she's not able to control her hand anymore. In that case, but I know her, but then in that case, can I take her thumbprint as a signature?
Florida does have signature by mark.
Hmm.
So that's anything that is a mark. So even her squiggly signature
Okay.
qualifies, VJ. I'm
Hmm.
always really comfortable with a thumbprint and then
Hmm.
follow your state regulations on how, um, and I have to look it up for you to be certain. A lot of states, when you're using signature by mark, you have to indicate that that's what it is. Signature by mark as witnessed by, or something similar. So
Okay.
Florida might have those same
So,
regulations.
so I need to look at the handbook to see the verbiage that I need to use when I'm notarizing, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
bet.
Once again, big thanks to Kristen, Ronnie, and last week I tried to join the Ron class with Amy. It was great. But life has been crazy right now, but hope to join everyone in the future. Thanks, guys.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. All righty, Mr. Manuel, bring us back to those jot form questions, if you will.
Right
I'm
before that,
here.
Miss Beth, can I ask one question to you because I think you would be the one to answer, and I actually have a question on the Florida. So if the signer can make the thumbprint themselves, because correct me if I'm wrong, if you're doing signature by mark, there has to be witnesses to that, correct? Outside of the notary in the in the
And not necessarily, that's state specific.
Okay. So here's my question, and I like to split hairs from time to time. If I'm doing signature by mark and I'm going to use their thumbprint, if it's somebody that's not mobile and I thumbprint them and put their thumbprint on, is that legal if they can't make their own thumbprint? Because isn't that the same thing as I'm signing for the signer?
Um, they have to be able to move their finger from the ink pad to the paper.
Okay. And in the
So,
event that they're not, we should never take their thumb, put it on a thumb pad, and then put it on that paper, correct? Because that's kind of like
no,
pushing a pin for someone.
exactly. If they're paralyzed or completely unable to control their movements, we can't assist them. They have to be able to do it on their own.
Okay, I just wanted to make that clear because we never, I've been asked to do that in the past, and this is way back in my notary baby days. So I just want to make sure I was too scared to do it, but I just wanted to make sure not to, uh, to make sure we don't encourage notaries just because, if someone's immobile, they can't make that thumbprint and then make that on a paper, or they can't move that pencil that we or pen that we stop and think. We should always be thinking.
Also when it comes to signature by mark, what I usually do for signature by mark, I ask for their fingerprint. And when it comes to like the thumbprint, then I actually ask for their thumbprint. So this way I don't have to get their double thumbprint on the document and on my official journal.
Yep, exactly. So, real quick, Florida does have signature by mark, and it says that the notary can notarize the signature of a person who signs with a mark. And then you have to go back and figure out what the definition of mark is. But moving forward, it says the document signing is witnessed by two disinterested persons, and the notary public prints the person's name, prints the person's first name at the beginning of the designated mark and the person's last name at the end of that signature line, and then prints the words his or her mark below the person's signature. So there are specific rules, and Florida is very specific on what you can do for signature by mark. So Miss Heather, Michigan notary, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
I was just going to clarify for Ronnie that in Michigan, we notaries can sign for people who are completely unable to move or make any mark themselves, and we don't need witnesses. But I usually get around that with Ron.
Oh, okay, yeah. And that's called signature by proxy. That's not mark. That's signature by proxy, right? Okay, perfect.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
The
They
key
actually call it signature by notary here.
Okay.
the key to this conversation, guys, and this is where I see a lot of notaries go wrong. Outside of your normal, I show up, I take their ID. It's a normal ID that I take, and I know I can take it. So if you don't have an ID that you take every day and you know you can take that, we stop and think. When they can't sign for themselves or the signature is changed, we stop and think. We've got to train our brains to stop and think. Whenever anything changes from or deviates from the normal, regular path that we do, we stop and think. It's kind of like stop, drop, and roll when you're like, in middle school or grade school, stop, drop, and roll. If something's on fire, we stop and think.
For sure. Okay, Mr. Manuel, if you will.
Yes, the next question came from Christina P, and this is for Mr. Ronnie. For those who have signed up with Mortgage Connect, the vendor application process states that they want the notary's pricing. Did you have to provide your pricing, or were you able to state that it depends on distance driven and the type of package length of packages?
So this is because Mortgage Connect has not updated their application process in, over a decade. Over 10 years ago, there were nowhere near as many signing agents as there are now. They used to have to do these things. Today, they don't care. They don't care. They're not going to look at your pricing. They're not going to enter it in some kind of thing on your profile. Nor is bank serve, nor is signing order. All of those are just junk pieces left over from over a decade ago. They're going to put out their pricing. You're either going to accept it or they're going to give it to somebody else. So it doesn't matter what you put in there. If you overprice it, they might throw you in the trash can. Keep it competitive, but they don't care about any of the things that you care about. They're just going to go with the notary who says yes on their orders. So it doesn't matter. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they don't care. They're too large and there's too many of us now. They're going to pay you what they want to pay you.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
And somebody clip that and send it to them because they should know that that's how we're starting to feel about them. Because maybe then they'll come up with their fees a little bit.
All righty. We're starting to tick these questions off that jot form. I kind of got behind a little bit, guys. And we're going to be on break next month for 2 weeks. So we got to get caught up on these jot form questions. Ronnie says, yay, break. That doesn't mean we get a break. We're still working in the background. Don't get so excited. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Manuel.
All right, next question is for Mrs. Kirsten. Anonymous question. If I am hired by a firm that uses a notary, let's say a bank or a lawyer, and I get paid a salary, I do as many notarial acts as requested. Or California, do I put $15 on each line in my journal? Question mark. Or because the client isn't paying me, do I put zero?
Okay, I'm off mute. So with anybody that uses a journal, which we recommend all states use a journal, you are going to put the amount, you're in a line item. So if you put, how do I want to explain this? So the people who are signing are not the ones paying you, is what you're saying. So you put $15 for each notarial act up to the amount being paid. So if you're being paid $150 for that service with the company that you were hired for, you would be line iteming 10 notarial acts. But if you were being paid only $75, but you had 10 notarial acts, you would be line iteming, is that a word? Only 5 certificates, so you're going to itemize up to the point that you're being paid. Does that sound, did I make sense?
And then zero out the rest of the lines, the rest of the certificates because you ran out of money, right?
Yep. So yeah, you go up to the point in which you either the total of what you're being paid or the amount of the notarial acts, and then zero out the ones that don't count towards that. If that made sense.
Perfect. Perfect. I don't know who Anonymous is, so I can't tell if they're in the audience. So we'll have to.
I would like to add something to that since I'm a notary in California. So listing what we charge on our notary's official journal, it is one of the requirements for our official journals to actually, if it's zero, then you go zero. But if it's 15, make sure that you log in the amount that you're charging.
Well, in every state, we keep journals for the state for the purpose of making certain that during an audit, they can say we are not overcharging our customers. So for some states that don't have a limit on the fee that you can charge per notarial act, that kind of becomes a little obscured. But like in California, it's $15. In Arizona, it's $10. So when you do complete your journals, you do have to enter the amount that you've charged for those acts for sure. You're right, Manuel. You betcha. Not just California.
Beth, I have a follow-up question with that. In Arizona, we can charge up to $10. So we have a nice, easy, round number.
Yeah.
Now, if you have someone who can only charge $2, $2.50, even 15 is not really a round number to me. I don't do great with math. How would you do that? Would you just go up to as close as you can to the amount?
Well, sure. If it was $2 per certificate and you had 5 certificates, right? And they paid you $10, it'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Wait a minute, is that what I said? Yeah. So you've used all the money, but if you only had 2 certificates, you could only charge 2 and 2. Now you've got money left over. That doesn't go in your journal. If it's a loan signing, this is the service fee that you're charging. Forget about what your state says about service fees, because when it comes to loan signings, we are getting a set fee no matter how many certificates are in the package. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So
sorry if I confused anybody. And you're right, Christopher in the chat says, haha, math strikes again. It's never been my forte.
so if you end up with a half of a an amount that you have to record and you can only charge $1 for that last certificate, that's what you put on there.
Good to know.
If they paid you $7, some kind of weird number. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All righty, Manuel. We're ready for you again.
Beth, the next question is for you, Mrs. Beth. It came
Okay.
from Angel J. Do I need an LLC to perform notaries if I am already a notary public with the commission and seal?
So, first thing I have to correct your grammar, Angela. Yes, I am the grammar police, because if you use that terminology with a title company, they're gonna look at you sideways and say, oh my gosh, where have you come from? So you don't perform notaries, you do perform notarizations. So now we're past that. Now we're past my pet peeve. But you don't need an LLC to do your job as a notary public. It's probably a good idea. What's more important is that you keep your fees separate from your personal money. Keep it in a separate account, so that you're not commingling funds, and keep track of what you do under your notary public shingle versus anything else you might do to bring in income. That's bigger than creating or setting up an LLC. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time in business to figure out what type of entity you want to use anyway. You know, it might be an LLC, it might be a corporation. It doesn't have to be done right away. So hope that helps. Kirsten just posted a blog article in the chat that talks about whether you need to formulate an LLC. I think it's a blog article that she wrote. So click on that, save it so you can go in later and check
It's
it
not
out.
one I wrote, just to let you know. That's just how it formatted.
Okay. Okay. All
Just in
right.
case you guys didn't want to read a blog by me.
Oh, ready. Next up.
Mrs. Emmy, this is for you. It came from Kimberly S. Can you explain when to use an electronic journal and when to use a paper journal? Question mark. Do I use the electronic journal for RAN because RAN is digital, and use the paper journal for in-person notarizations because in-person notarizations are not digital? When is the right time to use each of the journals? I am commissioned in Virginia. Thank you for your help.
All right, so that's an excellent question. I'm going to say you can log RON and tangible notarizations in any kind of journal. It could be a tangible journal, it could be an electronic journal. The issue is you need to be consistent with your law. Some states say that it has to be tangible and bound, and some states say they don't care. But if you're going to log all of your notarizations in one place, you want them in chronological order, and you could be the deciding factor of which way you want to do it. A lot of times, RON platforms will provide you with an electronic journal. I am going to tell you that I don't know of any RON platform that gives you 100% compliant notary journal for all states that they are open in. So if you're going to trust the RON platform for the journaling, you need to make sure that it's hitting all of the bells and whistles for your state law. However, if you're going to use an electronic journal like Jurat Inc. or Notary Assist or anything like that, you'll want to make sure that you're able to document all of the different aspects of a RON transaction. I know they can do tangible. You want to make sure RON, because RON has different requirements, you want to make sure all of those elements are getting in there. And if you're going to do tangible all the way, because I'm pretty sure there's at least 2 states that require that the notarizations all be logged in a tangible journal. You want to make sure you're detailing all of the RON information onto that physical form as well. So the choice is really up to y'all, which one you want.
Good answer. Now it just means I got to do double duty. Dang. Next one up, Manuel. It looks like this one's for Mr. Ronnie.
Yes, it is. This came from Jonathan B. What is the priority in marketing? It gets a bit overwhelming. what are the best steps to end properties to set yourself up for success?
Great question. So I have to start this with, if you're not marketing your notary business, no one knows you exist. Um, a lot of notaries start out and they just dump themselves into signing services, forgetting that they actually have other skills that they can apply toward the general public. Once you know how to complete a notarial certificate and what you're looking for, you should be advertising to the general public. The general public can lead to bigger clients. For instance, I took a $25 notary at 10:30 at the night 10 years ago that has yielded me 2 grand a month since, because it was for an attorney's father who just needed his father to have one document notarized. He made the phone call, liked my service, hired me to do all of his intake forms, which we don't even notarize and don't even have to be shipped back or drove back. I can just go anywhere. Um, so you should start marketing your general notary services immediately through Google Business, Yelp, any other sorts of listing sites, your own website. But then, outside of loan signings, I mean, once you have accumulated a new repertoire, so to speak, apostille, document translations, helping hospitals, helping jails, care facilities. You need to be marketing these. So it's kind of a hand in hand thing. Once you're comfortable and you're ready to start marketing, you need to be marketing each service that you offer, and you need to be marketing them all, equally. So the priority is really starting with getting your names in the signing services, getting your name out to the general public, and then starting to look at what you can actually do with your notary stamp. And if you have a problem with that, come see me at my Notary Star Plus marketing class. I'd love to help you.
Awesome. Perfect. There was another question in the chat, and I don't know if maybe she can't find the raise hand button, or maybe she's shy, Ronnie, but it kind of has to do the same thing with what you're just talking about. What's the best method to obtain direct business in an attorney state? And this is from Elizabeth George.
Oh, I really love this question because a lot of notaries come into the industry because of videos on the internet talking about how much money they can make, and then an attorney-only closing state, they start to get discouraged. But let's just start with the basics here. When you're in an attorney-only closing state, that only applies if the property is located in that state. So you can partner with signing services. A lot of people have second properties and they're going to send signings, to that state. You can have a website. If it's a small title office, they can find you. You can do general notary work. But working with attorneys, the best way is to walk in, and you need to be able to have the language, which I can help you with in my direct business marketing class, is helping attorneys understand that they don't need a brick and mortar anymore. They don't have to have, and I'm going to use Georgia as an example, they don't have to have their signers drive, from 285 through the city to come to their office anymore, or go through the Atlanta traffic, which is horrendous. Because remember, Atlanta was an unplanned city. A lot of the attorney-only closing states are unplanned. As we move more west, the cities got a little bit smarter as they developed, and that's just how the things rolled out. You can help those attorneys understand that you can do them a service and their clients a service, and it's a small fraction of what they're charging the client. And if you partner with the technology that's available for you, the same technology you're using right now for this call, explaining to an attorney that you can go do the closing and that they can be at the table on a Zoom call, learn how to use Zoom and all of the features that it has. It costs $25 a month for an enterprise package. Let them know you can go be at the table. They could be right there with you if they want to. They can go through the documents with them. They don't even have to leave their house. Do you know how much less money they would be spending if they sent you to the table rather than having a brick and mortar and all the time that they'll spend away from their family driving to and from the office? Learn to have that conversation with them, and you'll start to see turnaround.
That was a really good answer. Wow.
Thank you. Unplanned.
Listen, we're at the last 15 minutes of our program tonight. We do have a special 10-minute or 10-second guest who pops in every month to talk to us. This is Miss Delora Snyder. She's our health insurance expert. Ronnie, are we ready for Delora?
What do you want to eat for dinner? Are you
Yes.
hungry?
Wait a minute. Who's hungry?
I got her.
There
It
we
was
go.
Yeah, I got her.
All right, Miss Delora, are you ready?
I am ready. Hi, everybody. So great to be here again with you. I just wanted to pop in and introduce myself. My name is Delora, and I am your health insurance expert. Like Beth said, I help you guys with health insurance, whether you just need to look at your plan that you currently have, or if you need health insurance specifically made for self-employed people. I did have a notary this morning call me that I was able to help. And she's going to go to the marketplace. That was a better fit for her, but we were able to look at her options and kind of get her set up with what she needed to get set up with. And we were able to pair another plan with her to make the marketplace stronger for her. So we just evaluate each person's situation. Nobody's situation is the same. Insurance is not one size fits all. So if you want some help going through or you have some questions, feel free to reach out anytime. I'll put all my contact information in the chat here, and I'm also on the Notary Stars website, so I'm easy to find.
Thank you, Miss Delora. And I just want to remind everybody really quick why I feel that all business owners need health insurance. So if you don't have it through a spouse or being self-employed, when I was 21, I was 2 days off my father's insurance. I ran up a $500,000 bill surviving bacterial meningitis. I spent 6 weeks in a coma. I had to learn to walk and talk again and had to file bankruptcy. I literally got meningitis and within 24 hours was in a coma. Um, Anything can happen. We don't think it'll happen to us, but the judge looked at me when I filed bankruptcy at 21 and said, if this was my son, I'd let it go through. So I'm gonna let it go through. As we get older, they expect us, and you have to actually apply for bankruptcy and they have to approve that you can do it. At 45, who knows if I would get approved to go through a bankruptcy. And also, it's a lot to go through when you can protect yourself. And I know we all have feelings about healthcare and all of those sorts of things, but Delora's not looking to make a quick buck off of you. She will tell you if she can find a better option for you outside of her platform. As a business owner, you have to make business decisions, and something like a step off of a curve, or if later in life, had I not had insurance, when I got hit by a car as a mobile notary, not inside of a car, but just hit by a car and broke my back in 3 places. The whole reason we're all here today, the whole reason I own Unlimited Ink is because how does a mobile notary be mobile when they have a broken back, which is what happened to me? You never know what's going to happen and how that insurance will come into play to help you. So we make it something that Dolores stops in once a month and just reminds you that we have a healthcare rep for small business owners to help you. And at that time, Miss Beth, I think it's the perfect time to segue because we only have a few minutes left tonight.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk to everybody about hospital services tonight. And it's something that I feel that is highly overlooked in the notary community, or extremely overlooked when it comes to servicing hospitals and jails, but we're going to focus in on hospitals tonight. I want to teach you some things that I've learned when it comes to advertising to hospitals. I hope you guys will take notes and put this into implementation. I'm a firm believer that, and if you ever take my marketing class, my marketing students will tell you, I always tell them nothing's going to happen unless you actually take action. You can hear it all day long, but if you don't put it into play, nothing's going to happen. So it was be a waste of your time, right? So here's what I know about marketing to hospitals. First of all, there's a lot of ways you can market to hospitals. You can walk in with flyers. You can let them know your pricing. You really want to market to hospitals that you can actually drive to in a comfortable distance. So you need to set your radius of how far you're willing to travel. And really, you need to give all of those hospitals the same pricing. Okay, so if it's 5 to 7 miles, you trying to finagle and they find out that you only charge one hospital, one rate, and all these things, you need to come up with your rate of how much it charges, and you really need to zero in your marketing on those locations. That could be 5 locations, that could be 10 locations. Some of us are going to live closer. Like I know Miss Beth lives in a more the Peoria area, so there's a lot more senior care centers and a lot more retirement homes there, that sort of thing. I live in Central Phoenix, a lot more hospitals. I got Banner Hospital, St. Joseph's Hospital. I've got a lot more like emergency care type places around me. Beth probably has an emergency center close to her, but it might be further away. Um, You need to find out what and when we talk about hospital notary services, you also have to put yourself in a mind frame of we're talking care facilities, rehabilitation centers, hospitals, senior care facilities, hospice centers. You need to find all of those locations around you and within your bubble. And your bubble for this should be smaller than your loan signing agent bubble because you're not going to be able to charge as much money as even if they're in dire need, you got to be able to get there sometimes quickly. You got to be able to charge them a reasonable rate. You're talking about people who are already in a bad predicament. Let's just face it. Nobody woke up today saying, I want to go to the hospital. Nobody had money set aside saying, I want to go to the emergency room or that I might not be getting out of the hospital. So you got to account for the place that the family's in. Those people can become your best word of mouth. So you're also paying it forward with marketing. So you need to come up with a reasonable amount that you can service in a bubble area. Now, when you actually go to a hospital or a care facility, my number one thing that I've always done is if I have to go up to floor 5, I'm stopping on every floor on the way down. So I get there, I do my job, and on every floor on the way down, I was invited into that hospital. I don't care if I have to say that I accidentally went to the wrong floor. I didn't mean to stop on this floor, but while I'm here, I'm going to talk to the nurse's desk and I'm going to let them know, hey, I just stopped at this floor. But on my way down, I just wanted to stop at I usually tell them they were so nice to me at the floor I was supposed to be at. I just want to stop here too. Play dumb a little bit, but be smart. Talk to the nurse's station and let them know, like, hey, I just came in. I notarized documents for the person in 502. Just want to stop on this floor on the way out and let you know that I have some information. I've actually never been told no. Using this tactic, saying no, you can't. Maybe some of you will. I don't know, but no means just not right now, or you got the wrong nurse on the way down. But I let them know that I'm available. Here's my business cards. I'd love for you to let anybody else know. Also, I keep track of the floors. So, like, it's kind of like a bank robbery. And I have to say this. I mean, I hope YouTube doesn't flag me for anything, but it's kind of like a bank robbery. You have to kind of like plan the hospital. Like, okay, if it's got 2 towers, which tower did I go to last time? Make marks on what floors you've marketed to. So you want to make sure that you've made note. Sometimes at like care facilities, guys, you need to make um, a special meeting with like a manager of the facility or a hospice manager of the facility or even a social worker. So if you're told like, oh, we already have a notary on site and all these things, ask them, but what do you do after hours? What do you do during emergency situations? Can I be your emergency notary? Never leave the question at the answer is no. Like I can't get in. No. Okay, well, what do you do in a scenario? Am I talking to the right person? Do you make the decision? You can ask that question. Are you the decision maker on if a notary comes in? Most hospitals are never going to tell you no. And I do want to backtrack just a little tip of advice for you. If you're a wedding officiant and you were ordained through the Universal Church of Life, which I get no commissions for saying, I have never paid for parking at a hospital or a jail for having the card because they don't charge parking to ministers. So that $30 that you pay to become an online minister will save you the money at parking. And it can also save you on train fare and a lot of things. So make sure that you're using assets. And if you are a wedding officiant, make sure that you use that. I have the little card in my car. It doesn't even go in my wallet. It stays in the car because the one time you forget it, you'll be really mad. Or if you ever took it out, you'll be like, dang, I paid for parking. This allows you not to charge your customers for parking at hospitals. And again, guys, I want to remind you that if you're afraid to go into hospitals, I know that there may be people who have immunocompromised systems. I hope that came out right. Is that right? Immunocompromised? Did I say it right? Okay. So
Yes.
if you have an immunocompromised system, I understand that if hospitals are not your thing, but if you're not immunocompromised, the one thing that I want to remind you is my best marketing tactic for getting people to hire me at a hospital is relaying to them that you have a good bedside manner. And you have to actually mean that. You can't just say you're going to have a good bedside manner because then you're going to draw in a bad review. Your advertisement should remind those families that you have an excellent bedside manner, that you understand what they're going through, that you want to help them while they're going through a hard time. Make sure that you're using terminology that's going to speak to the customer you want to hire you. And your advertisements should be separate for the type of hospital, you should not see loan signing agent on anything when it comes to your marketing materials for a hospital. That is so putting the person in the wrong man. And most people don't even know we're called loan signing agents anyway. So now you're putting your banking into their minds when they're signing power of attorneys and doing end of life care and all of those types of things. Sometimes you're scaring your clients away. You want them to know you as a notary, somebody that they can turn to whenever they need something notarized. That's going to put a good taste in their mouth. And repeat business is a thing. Okay. So when you go into those hospitals, you need specific marketing materials that's all about that type of facility. If you're going to hospice, gear it toward end of life care. If you're going to an emergency hospital, gear it toward emergency hospital services. If you're going into a rehabilitation center, great, let's get your life back on track. You want to gear your marketing and stop printing 100 resumes for everything jumbled into one. Print the amount of resumes you need from like Canva or other places geared toward the product or service that you're actually offering. And you may need a different one for like a senior care facility than you do for an emergency hospital. Okay. You need to kind of think like a business owner and print 5 for this one and 5 for that one and make those visits into those locations. Now, I want to talk a little bit about digital marketing because we only got like 4 minutes left. I'm going to try to wrap this up in a minute. If you guys have not seen yet, we did launch a secondary niche site, and I'm going to explain how this works. And I'm going to tell you what you can do on your own site to kind of emulate this. But of course, this is a niche site geared specifically toward hospitals that you may want to service. So we built this website in the marketing class, and anybody can take a listing on it. And the way that it works is, and you guys can go and check this, just head over to Find a Notary by State. You can literally scroll down to every single one of these listings and just Google the name of the hospital and the word notary, and it will come up on the first page of Google, sometimes the very first thing on Google before Google My Business. So how am I doing this? And it's not going to happen exactly on your website because this website is not my website. You can notice that the domain name says Emergency Notary Services. So it's geared already toward hospitals. And when we click on a listing for any of the notaries here, you're going to see in the domain names Emergency Notary Services, locations, Abrazo Scottsdale campus, the address, the city, state, and zip code where that's located. So that's just the domain name. I've got a meta title, a meta description, all of these things. But let's talk about what's on this page that you can add to your listings, your Notary Star profile, your Notary Rotary profile, any hospital or service that you're using. Of course, I want you to list on here. You can claim a listing here. We do charge per hospital. They're very low cost at $24 a listing right now. And that's a 50% off already. So we did a sale just because we're going to be talking about it tonight. So how am I getting these listings to come up like this? So this is Tracy Stahl. I don't know if she's here tonight, but she's one of our Arizona notaries. You can see here that I've got the name of the hospital listed on the page. I have the address of the hospital listed on the page. I have the phone number of the hospital and a link to the hospital. Do I need all of this on the page? Absolutely, because Google knows that I'm talking about that hospital and I'm linking out to the hospital. This is part of search engine optimization, something I can teach you about in the class. When we put information about that hospital and we have the notary write a unique bio, this already starts to push this further into the Google search rankings. Now, emulating this by yourself is going to be harder. But what I want to tell you is we have this new update from Google right now called helpful content. And helpful content is the most recent seminar that I did where you have to actually be helpful to the user. So if you're looking about something about notary and about that hospital, having that hospital's information on that same page where you're talking about it makes that page come up even more. Now, here's one last thing that I'll share with you, and we're going to go to our outro for tonight. And I just want to say, don't forget, you can claim your own listing here. We would love to fill you up. We are starting to now do what we call request a quote for states that we don't have. So the customers can come on and request a quote for hospitals. Until you claim that location, it's going to go to any notary out there. So if you claim your location, the quote goes directly to you. So let me show you how this works in a Google search really quick. And I know some of you have seen this already. Let's actually go to a fresh internet browser. I like to do these things with a new incognito window just because you can see a fresh Google search without anything tied to it. So if I type in Phoenix Hospital Notary. So we've got our AI overview, and guess who's in the AI overview? Unlimited Ink Notary. That's my company, right? This is my website. This is Notary Stars. How did I get #1 position? There's Emergency Notary Services, which is my listing. But if I were to go and Google that hospital, St. Joseph's Hospital, it would come up first, and I'll just prove that. So if we do St. Joseph's Hospital, there's my emergency notary listing. And I was actually thinking, okay, it better come up first because I just said it was going to. But true story there. When I get to the first listing here, you can see everybody says, Google my business, Google my business. You got to be on Google my business. But not everybody just searches for a notary near me. Sometimes they put the name of the hospital. Sometimes they say a notary near that hospital. Sometimes they're looking for services near that hospital. But what also makes Unlimited Ink come up first is a lot of the information that we put about the experience that you're going to have, what they need to know about what you're going to book. I see so many notaries, guys, going out there on their websites and just saying, I service hospitals. Well, that's not going to draw in the clients to you. Okay, you have to be very specific with what hospital, what experience are you offering there? What can the signers know about that location, the address, the phone number? They might not even know where it is yet. The more information you give, the more helpful you become. Even talking about, I'm going to be careful with your loved ones, and I'm going to give them a caring experience, and I'm going to stop at the nurse's station. Give them a rundown of what you're going to do. This is going to make Google love you so much that you're going to be so far up the page. Just wanted to point that out to you guys tonight because at Unlimited Ink, we probably send a notary into a hospital 4 or 5 times a day, sometimes, not all the time. But we have dedicated notaries who have let us know, like, hey, I really love these hospitals, and they're not marketing those hospitals. And if they do market on this website, then we call them if it comes through Unlimited Ink. And then if it doesn't, then we give it to them. I mean, they get it directly from their listing. So here's the thing, I don't want to sound like an uncaring guy after I gave you all this caring information, okay? But hospitals are gold mines. People check in and they're not checking out anytime soon. And they're not going anywhere. And they've got to keep things moving on the outside, or they got to help their family. It's an amazing opportunity for a notary. It's more what our job was invented for than loan signings, to be in my mind. It's more needed than loan signing agents. And the thing is that you go stand at any emergency room and you take a clicker and you click everybody who goes in that door. And that is an opportunity you have every day. And then you watch how many loan signings come out in your area, and you do a clicker on each one of those coming out a day, and you compare those numbers. Every single person who goes into that hospital is an opportunity. Every single loan signing that comes out is an opportunity. I guarantee you there's more people going to hospitals and jails than there are people getting loans right now. And so I just wanted to bring that reminder to everybody. Miss Beth, I know that we got to get this wrapped up, so I'm going to cut that conversation off. You could always come to the Notary Star Plus marketing level to learn more. But Miss Beth, you were going to say something?
One quick question from Susan. She was chatting about this. We can take just a minute and have her ask that really quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Susan.
So I had gotten mine last year. Is it something that we renew each year? Because I noticed I just pulled mine up and it says claim your notary listing, but it's got my information and everything on it. So I'm assuming it needs to be renewed.
So it automatically renews. If it doesn't, we'll let you know. So that's if another notary sees your listing, they're going to claim their listing as well. But on your actual listing, it should not say claim your listing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We
All
did
right.
make a major update to the website. Yeah, I can see. We'll take that button off, the claim your listing part. It shouldn't be on that page. And I'll tell you what happened. So we learn something new every day in website building. All of you are different on how much you write for your bios. So we actually found a way over the weekend and we changed it all today. You guys didn't know, but it was down for like 6 hours last night. We found a way, no matter how much you wrote us for your bio, for it all to stay the same size, no matter how much you wrote, which is really cool. And I'll be teaching it in my class pretty soon. So, glad you asked that. But it should not say claim at the top. That's for somebody for an advertisement. So I'll make sure that that gets put back.
Okay, thanks, Ronnie.
Something got rolled back when we did the update this weekend. All right, Miss Beth. I think it is time. I'm gonna say it my way, and then you can take us home. If you are not naked, turn on those cameras. If you are not stuffing your face with a sandwich right now, turn on those cameras and wave to the camera so everybody can see you, so we can scroll through. And Miss Beth, what do you have for us tonight to take us home?
I'm going to take you home the way I used to take you home months ago. Listen, guys, we're all in the same storm. We're just not all in the same boat. Some of us have yachts, some of us have canoes, some of us are dog paddling. I see Tim out there going like this. Just remember to be kind, guys. Reach back, grab the hand of the notary next to you, and bring them along with you on your journey. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.